This week, South Africa's opposition landscape has been shaken. Duduzile Zuma-Sambudla, MP for the MK party and daughter of his founder, former President Jacob Zuma, has resigned from parliament and stripped herself of all party roles in the face of a very, very concerning police investigations into allegations that she misled South African men into fighting for Russia in Ukraine. With that, the MK party, once touted as a rising force, a powerful challenger to the governing order, finds itself under scrutiny again. Earlier this year, the party also ousted its parliamentary chief whip, and internal critics have accused it of nepotism, shaky discipline, and infighting. But what does this resignation signal for the future of MK? Can it withstand a wave of scandals, or are we witnessing the beginning of its unraveling? And to help us unpack this, we speak to a very, very good friend of the station, political analyst Sandile Swana. Mr. Swana, always a pleasure having you on Salam Media. Really, really appreciate you giving us your time. Good morning.
Good morning, Slyla, and good morning to the listeners of Salam Media. Thank you.
I think let's jump right into it, Babswana. What is your reading of Duduzile Zuma-Sambudla's resignation? Is it a genuine kind of step back to allow these investigations to kind of happen, or it's a calculated move to protect the party's image with the local government elections coming up, and they seem to be embroiled in a lot of scandals lately?
I think the scandal itself I don't think it's a big concern for the party. The thing that they want to protect themselves from is to be charged themselves as a political party for providing military assistance to a foreign country or participating in a foreign war without the express approval of the government and the authorities in South Africa. So to be embroiled in that type of litigation and criminal charges and all that, that is what they are trying to avoid. I think the issue of scandal and the leaders of that party at the top, a lot of them have got an assortment of previous scandals. They've got an assortment of current scandals and court cases. So I don't think scandal in the general sense is of any relevance to them.
That's very, very interesting. I want to talk generally, after the previous elections, the surprise package was obviously the MK party. How would you analyze their role in South African politics and how they've integrated themselves into this ecosystem from that point until now?
Obviously, when they came out of the last election, I think they overestimated their own importance, and as a direct result of that, they lost out on power. As an example, they thought because of the amount of votes they had obtained in KZN and also nationally, that they were an automatic partner in any coalition to govern the country. So they thought they held the aces, not knowing that there were people who wanted to bypass them and actually bypass them successfully. So one would hope that they've learned their lessons, that they don't hold the aces. So when they participate in local government, ward by ward, municipality by municipality, they will move fast to secure their own interests in those municipalities. Otherwise, in the previous election, they didn't do that. So they are moving slowly now to try and get into a place where they are a serious contributor to parliamentary life. And they are learning those skills as they go along. Yeah.
How damaging was it for them to not be part of any significant coalition, whether it's at provincial level or it's with the quote unquote GNU? Do you think they would have fared better if they were within a structure with other political parties?
I think the politics of boycott and non-participation are over. both the EFF and MK party cannot involve themselves in the politics of boycott. So they certainly wanted to be in government, but they had no strategy to get in there. Because when you are not participating and actually controlling cabinet posts and budgets and all that, it's good to be a critic and a commentator from outside. But if you have a realistic opportunity to be an insider, it's better to actually hold the power, because nobody for a long time, maybe the next 30 years, is going to win any majority in South Africa.
Very, very interesting observation. We had a conversation, you and I, once about the issue of politics in South Africa being personalized, personalized around individuals, founders, or even relatives thereof. Does the MK almost, reflect that kind of deeper problem with personalization of political parties in South Africa, where again the political party revolves around the founders, the relatives, rather than the institution itself?
Yeah, this is the cult of personality, and Zuma is one of those people who really created that cult of personality. The other one being Mangosuthu Buthelezi and so on, where people are owners of these political parties and then move, especially Jacob Zuma, to a direction where the family members control the politics of the party. For instance, I'm told that the case about foreign assistance against Duduzile was orchestrated by one of her own sisters. So it's a family feud, and it's a tragedy in a sense that people like Nathi Nhleko and Tony Yengen and others follow a personality as opposed to a formal institution with clear ideology, political ideology, and programs. At this stage, the MK party is not yet a proper political party. It is a personal organization or a family organization of the Zuma family.
Sheesh. And what does this tell us about the nature of opposition politics here in South Africa? We've always, lamented the fact that we have a weak opposition, and you have an MK party which rises and is thought or touted to be, a strong opposition, but those assumptions have been quelled very, very fast. Just the state of South African opposition politics and the impact that it generally has.
I think the concept of opposition politics is a far-fetched concept. There's no such thing as opposition politics. If all these parties are not getting above 40% of the vote, how then do you decide that this one is an opposition party as opposed to that one? Because all that happens that after an election is the fastest and the fastest smooth operator who gets to be in power. It's not predetermined by the elections who's going to be in power. It's about maneuvering. So a person that you've performed better than that person can actually end up being in power and you are out of power, and then they call you the opposition. So I think we need to abandon that idea. These are just competing parties. These are small parties competing among themselves. None of them has got a majority to be able to call others an opposition party. In the city of Joburg, Action SA came in for the first time and overtook the EFF and reduced the EFF to fourth position, as I recall. Then it would have been the ANC, DA, and then Action SA, and the fourth would have been EFF. Nationally, the MK party came in and again displaced the EFF to the fourth position on the list. So to say there are weak opposition parties have come out and actually obtained good numbers. For instance, Action SA has, I think, performed quite well because they were in the era of small parties. The EFF has been an opposition party. It is now a small party that is competing with other small parties with a very good track record. So I think there is no basis for somebody to say to us that we have weak opposition parties and all that. First of all, we must discard this idea of opposition parties. Secondly, to say other parties are weak, and then which ones are strong. I mean, are you saying the ANC is a strong party? I don't think so. I don't think the ANC is a strong party.
Very interesting analysis there. We don't have opposition political parties in South Africa. Lastly, before I let you go, Babswana, what would be required for MK to almost rebuild trust at this moment? Would it be substantive internal changes? I don't know, transparency of some sort, or just an overhaul, fresh leadership, being introduced into the party? And do you believe they are capable of delivering that?
I think MK party has got a very good chance of surviving. The fact that they could achieve that amount of support in the first election, it shows you that what some of us consider to be chaotic and immoral politics and family politics has an appeal. There's a market for that in South Africa. But in terms of general advice, because when Zuma ran the ANC, he ran the ANC in a very chaotic fashion. I mean, the civil service was emptied. There were vacancies all over. He was firing people overnight. And yet, he actually still developed a core, very large amount of support till today, and he still has that support in chaos. So we can just give him general advice that he needs to stabilize his administration and steadily start to attract credible people, because a lot of the people that are in the senior leadership of MK Party are not credible at all.
There you go, Sandile Swana, political and governance analyst. Always a pleasure having you on air, and really appreciate your wonderful insights. Hope we chat again soon.
Thank you, sir.
There you go. We're going to take a quick break. News and Views does continue after this.